Okay, so hey everybody, welcome to Running Highs and Community Ties, the official podcast for Kills for ATL. I'm Lindsay Sizemore. I'm really excited because guess what? This is episode 6. And tonight we have a very special guest. I've been trying to get her to get on this podcast for some weeks now. So I'm really, really excited to yet again dive into another amazing story of someone who's coming out the hills. She's an active part of her community, but she has an incredible story. And so tonight I have Huyen with us. Hi, Huyen.
Hi, Lindsay.
How are you doing?
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I know I've heard so much, from other people about you and your life. I see your content. I see that you're passionate and you're motivated, and I cannot wait to kind of like uncover some of those layers. And so you were raised here in Georgia, right?
Correct.
Okay, what part?
I grew up, so our family started in this kind of immigrant community. All the Vietnamese people basically gathered in one place, and it was called Chambly, or it is called Chambly. But even to this day, the community has shifted a lot, but you can see off the Buford Highway, there's a bunch of Vietnamese restaurants. But that's where my family started. So just a little bit outside of Atlanta. And then as I got older, we moved a little more and more north. So yeah, but I just say I'm from Georgia because I know these days people are very particular about.
I know. I've been here since I was 6, but I'm like, okay, I'm from here. Okay.
Right.
But how literal do you want to be?
Exactly.
Okay, so you're here in Atlanta, you're here in Georgia, Chambly, you raised here, and so you went to school out here. Did you ever leave, or did you spend?
So I did leave for a bit. So the way that my family came to America, we immigrated from Vietnam. My family is Vietnamese and Black, so my mom was able to come here because of I think it was called the Asian American Act. She was a child of the Vietnam War. But yeah, at one point, her and my dad had a plan to come to the States. I was born in the Philippines, so we made a pit stop. A lot of people think I'm Filipino, but I was just born there. And then we ended up in Chambly. But growing up, my parents ended up getting divorced. So my mom raised me as a single mom. And she just kind of did her best over time. And I just wanted to make sure to stay as close to her as possible, seeing how much she poured into us and with her kids. So even going to college, I had options to potentially look into going out of state. But one, I wanted to save money. And 2, my mom was very explicit about not wanting me to go far. So I went to school at Emory, but the one time that I lived out of Georgia was in San Francisco. Yeah, I took a job with Google where I was at for about 6 years. So I lived in the Bay Area for about a year and a half.
Okay. So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
So I am the eldest of 5, including myself.
5. Okay, so you are the oldest.
Yeah.
So you're like out of the siblings, like the rock kind of person.
Yeah, kind of stereotypical eldest daughter.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so she took care of all of you guys.
So another kind of layers into the story. So my mom and dad had me and my brother, and then my dad had 3 other kids with 2 other women.
Okay.
And he managed to keep us all together. So on a weekly basis, we typically got together. And my youngest sibling is actually 2 years old. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, my mother made sure that my brother and I were not wanting of much growing up.
Yeah, that's amazing. Awesome. So you are, you've been here, you've decided that, it sounds like you got everything done. Like you were able to go to school, you were able to get some experience in, you said Google. So you were like in corporate world for 6 years?
Yeah, corporate America. Exactly.
Like what you wanted? Did you go to school for that? Like, and you were like, this is what I'm going to do with my life. And then you went out there, I'm doing it. And then I'm interested to see what that life was like.
Yeah,
what that life.
Yeah, great question. So I did not envision corporate America when I first started college. Even in high school, I was like, I want to figure out how to help people. I enjoy working with kids. So helping people, making money. Okay, let's do the doctor route. And then maybe after retiring, I'll become a teacher because I love working with kids. But I got to college, and mind you, again, like first generation, eldest daughter, like parents didn't have a ton of education growing up either. I had no clue what it took to become a doctor. And when I learned like the amount of time that you have to put in to become one, I was like, I don't want my mom like continuing to, kind of have to be the primary person taking care of the family for as long as I would be in med school. So I pivoted, went to business school, studied business and philosophy as a double major, and wanted to do like social marketing. So like still helping people. Business kids seem to get fast.
You got creative,
but yeah,
you got creative with it.
I tried.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then also in college was where I started falling more in love with personal training. I was a high school athlete, so I was in college.
What did you play in high school?
I did cross country, swimming, and track.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I wasn't particularly good at any of them, really.
So you were involved,
and I was involved, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like the team vibe, which I now get with Hills, and I enjoyed like feeling stronger in a number of different ways, and I think it helped me academically and all that too. But yeah, in college, I wanted to just maintain my kind of physical well-being, and I started going to the gym. I took like a personal training class and became certified in college. So coming out of school, I was kind of torn because I could have continued kind of building my brand as a personal trainer or took this corporate route. But what was kind of the big factor in making that decision was that in 2015, my mom had a stroke.
Okay.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, like she was just the rock of our family, and just did everything. Like kind of, you know, again, stereotypical single mom who just does everything, is working 6 days a week, and on her off days taking care of everything else, right? So that was a huge hit to our family. And unfortunately, strokes happen a lot. And for some people, it's like a mini stroke where thankfully you regain a lot of your function. For my mom, that wasn't the case. She had a hemicraniectomy where they had to remove half her skull and remove part of her brain to relieve the swelling. Mm-hmm. And she went from this woman who, again, like worked 6 days a week, went to the gym after, cooked for us. When I was in college, would drive up to school and bring me food and tidy up my messy space. Yeah. She went from being all of that to not being able to move the left side of her body. So that was really, really...
That rocks your whole world.
Exactly.
And I can imagine like her feeling like her identity is just like been changed too.
Right.
And then like you said, what year was that?
That was 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a huge change.
Right.
Place in your life.
Exactly. So
at the same time, you're trying to decide what you're going to do with your life.
Exactly. So I was trying to think long term. My instinct was I didn't want to leave and be far while she was navigating this huge shift in her overall being. But talking to mentors and things like that, the long-term vision was to be able to take care of her the way that she took care of me, right? And Google is this huge place, and they treated me well when I did an internship there. So I figured that could be a place where not only I feel taken care of in terms of my well-being, but I could build like the financial stability to be able to take care of my mom long term. And that's why I inevitably took that full-time job and entered corporate America.
Nice. Okay. So it sounds like you, from a very young age, had a deeper than most level of like gratitude for your mom, for tough situations, and just being able to recognize as a kid, you know, she's doing it all by herself. We're a lot. We have needs. And it seems like you were very mature and at a young age. Some people, I know for me, like, you know, you have to grow up faster in certain situations, you know, just is what it is. But I'm kind of over here in awe a little bit about how much like compassion and gratitude you have for your mother. And you know, how easy it is to just kind of just do your sports and go to school and eat whatever's in front of you and not really take time to recognize that somebody had to make that food for you. They had to get in their car and they had to drive it to you. They had to make sure you're okay. They cleaned up your space when needed. And it's just, it mattered to you. It mattered to you so much that you recognized it, and you actually made your future plans all because of that. And how old were you when you went to Google?
2015. I was about 20. I went to Google in 2017. So I was about 21.
Okay. So 21 years old, and you are already thinking about this long-term vision here. And I cannot tell you, at least in my world, I was definitely not thinking about that at age 21. And so I think that that's something really special about who you are. And I just wanted just to acknowledge that for a second. So
I appreciate that. I feel that a lot. And I think I will say, like, I feel like immigrant parents are very often not shy about letting you know what their expectations are, especially for the eldest child. So yeah, I think while I think there's probably a good amount of like eldest immigrant daughters who are like, this is an experience I also had in terms of having to kind of think about what the expectations of our parents are and how we can repay back their like difficult experience, even getting us settled into a home in the States, you know?
Right. Okay, so you came back. We came back to be here, be a caregiver for your mother. And I'm sure through this caregiving, you have learned so much about the healthcare system. Probably a lot of stuff that makes you like pretty upset. I know in one of my jobs, I've learned a lot about the insurance industry, just being a really tough, hard, even corrupted at times industry. And I know that the healthcare system can also be the same way.
Right.
And as a daughter trying to support your mother in every way possible, I'm sure you've encountered a lot of things. And I think I want to know a little bit about this startup that you have, this health equity startup. What is it called? Aclinate?
Yeah.
Aclinate. Okay, what's Aclinate?
So Aclinate is a health tech company that is focused on driving health equity forward by diversifying clinical research. And I will say it's not my startup.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Tell us.
Yeah.
This is what the podcast is about. I want to know about these things so we can share it with others.
Yeah. So coming out of Google, just for a little bit of context, when I was there, then I wasn't in a wellness related role at all while I was at Google initially. I came at actually doing customer support. I didn't imagine myself doing customer support. I didn't know Google had customer support roles, but I was like, this is going to get my foot in the door. The benefits are awesome. If the pay is good, let's do it. But I still had this desire to embed my passion for well-being into the work somehow, embed my passion for equity and tie those together. So I joined the Black Googler Network, which is an employee resource group. And I just started asking folks like, okay, you work at Google, but like people are still stressed out. People are still going through things. Like, what do folks need? So I did like surveys, and then I started doing wellness programs that came out of the information that I was hearing. And that's how I kind of got into well-being programs. And then eventually I became a mental health program manager at Google, which was like a new role. And I learned a lot about the mental health space and well-being through those experiences. And then I started thinking, okay, this is great that I'm helping employees at Google figure out how to best take care of their well-being while they're doing like pretty difficult work. And I was focused on supporting the Black employees specifically because a lot of folks came from backgrounds where they didn't know how to navigate the different resources that were there, or that there were still unique challenges being a Black employee at Google. But I knew that, okay, even at Google, we have benefits that other folks in community don't. And I had this desire to extend this passion out more into the community. And I got a LinkedIn message from the co-founder of Acclimate. They were looking for someone to help build this community. And I thought it was just perfect timing and a great opportunity for me to kind of make the jump from corporate America into the startup space.
And so you did it.
And I did it.
You did it. Okay. So that's awesome. And you, did you go back to school for public health?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Public health. Okay.
Yeah. During the pandemic, I was one of the ones that I was like, okay, like what else do we do at this time? Discovering my passion for health equity. I didn't realize there was a whole field of studying for it called public health. Of course, everyone started hearing more about public health during the pandemic itself. But specifically the realm of health equity, I was really interested in learning more. So yeah, I applied to a program and I've been pursuing that part-time ever since. I'm still working on it.
If I could go back to school for anything, it would also be public health. Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity. I think just if anything, it's you're as passionate about the stuff to have that kind of knowledge right under your belt.
Exactly.
You know, for any sort of space that you're in.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know a little bit about you. Let's go into Hills for ATL. So we were all like, we all kind of like found it in our own ways. And then some people have gone for years and some people have gone 1 or 2 times. But I think you've been probably going almost right at a year, right?
Almost.
Okay. And I think you guys, when I asked her how she had heard about Hills, she's like, I honestly can't even remember because what was it? Like just so many different people.
Yeah.
We're talking about it.
I've been coming. And honestly, I can barely remember what I had for lunch like yesterday, because there's just so much going on. And I've loved staying plugged into the fitness world ever since I started doing, I started personal training, started teaching classes. So like these things kind of come across my timeline all the time. And I'm sure it was one of those things that when I saw a post talking about a free community workout, hearing music, seeing people, I was like, okay, I'm there.
Yeah, when you hear the word free, and you hear the word, it's out to me outside. Like it's outside. Like I opt outside every time.
Yeah,
and then community. Like
exactly.
I think that if as much as people, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't talk about the word community and things like that, but the second somebody starts talking about it, people realize that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Right.
It's not like, I mean, you have people that go out and they celebrate or they go to these bars and clubs and drink and whatever, dinner, whatever. But like, this is like community, like that we're going to be outside and we're going to be getting dirty and we get to exercise together. And like, this is like a different vibe, but it's like, I guess it's more wholesome and it's actually good for you. And so what was your first experience like?
Yeah, my first experience, I think it was everything that I imagined it would be. Like, that is my ideal type of environment. What you mentioned in terms of, like, community. Music is also a big thing for me. And I think a lot of people don't realize how, like, listening to music that you like, it just so happens that our coach is a DJ.
I know.
So the playlist is usually great. So, like, all of those things drive me and motivate me to be better. And I think one thing that I want to emphasize is that, like, even for the folks that I've never spoken to at Hills, the fact that, like, people are there and showing up, like, just having your presence, like, makes me want to continue to show up and to push myself to be better. So I'm really appreciative for the Hills community for sure.
I just love it. And I love that there's just such a diverse group, all fitness levels. Every time I go there, I can look left, look right, and there's just somebody else I've never seen before right there. I don't know how they were invited. It doesn't really even matter at that point because we're there and we're doing it. And that whistle blows and we go.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just so much fun. And I know, I have, had friends that just like, oh my God, I don't think I could do the actual physical part. But once they go, they realize it's not just about that physical part.
Right.
It's about the feel good. I mean, we have breaks and we do these things and people's endorphins are going and they're just happy. Yeah. Right. You did something to add value to your life.
Right.
And you got to push it in this workout. You got to see some new people. Even if you didn't say one word to anybody, there is an energy there.
Yes.
Isn't it? Right.
Yes.
And you're right. I've never really even thought about the DJ, the music piece, actually. But the music is on point. It's fun. There's plenty of breaks. And it's just like, I don't know, like the physical part kind of like, it's not that it's not hard. It just kind of like, it's no longer like something on the table that like I like stress about. Like, and I feel like we just can continue to encourage people. Like we have fun. I laughed the whole time up that hill.
Yeah.
Because half the time I didn't get the instructions and I was like, oh, I was supposed to like drop down again or I take off too soon. And it's just fun. It's just fun. And it was like anything I can do to feel like a kid again, right?
Yeah.
So
Lindsay's not stressed about the workout. I'm stressed about the workout sometimes. Oh, it got better though. I will say, like,
especially half it gotten better.
It's not so much better. Like, even when you pause for the season, sometimes, unless you're sprinting regularly, part of your workout, then you're like, okay, I'm about to go and do these sprints again. And I feel like at the beginning of the season, I was like feeling a little deconditioned, but it's that like, the group is going to be there next week. So you're going to be there next week to try and improve yourself and get better. And then you do. Like, I was even telling my partner the other day that, like, I felt stronger this past workout. And I definitely feel like it's an accumulation of having shown up decently consistently.
Has your back pedal gotten better?
The back pedal is actually one of my favorites because I feel it in my...
I feel like that was definitely... Yeah.
But it's hard. It is hard.
It's hard, but it got better.
Yes.
And has your footwork gotten better?
Yeah, my footwork has gotten better. I just feel athletic. I don't know how I look, but I feel
I know you, girl. You look athletic out there. Trust me. We have give me some photos to prove it. Yeah, no, I remember telling AB, I'm like, hey, guess what? My footwork's getting better. I don't have to like stare at my feet anymore. I can look up and I can move side to side. Yeah, I know that it's like I'm not gonna like, hurt myself, and so that was exciting to me because I'm a long distance runner, right? I find a pace and just go forever.
Yeah.
I don't like the sprint thing is like a shock to the heart, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so purposeful work. You're a coach, right? Tell me about this coaching that you do.
Yeah.
Where are you coaching? Who do you coach? What's your style?
Yeah. So historically, I started as a personal trainer. So one-on-one coaching. I started doing classes. Really loved that. And then it definitely had to take a backseat once I went to corporate America. I started teaching classes for free though. There was a group called Bounce SF in the Bay Area where we, on a weekly basis, very similar to Hills actually, had a bunch of diverse people together and did workouts. They were mostly like HIIT, and sometimes we had a hill or stairs to incorporate. So yeah, fairly similar. And then I've been wanting to start that back up in Atlanta, but it's been a little slower. So what I've been working on is coaching people who are in positions similar to myself, where maybe you're working a full-time job or you're a student, maybe you're a caregiver, a parent, and you're just struggling to prioritize your well-being. For me, I've been grateful that having a background as a personal trainer and athlete, I've kind of forced fitness into my routine. And it's been something that I think has been my saving grace over the years, to be able to make sure that I'm not pouring from an empty cup because I'm consistently taking care of myself. But I knew just from hearing different people talk that wasn't something that came naturally to everyone, right? You kind of prioritize everyone else's expectations of you first, and you don't kind of carve out that time for not only fitness, but even just resting your body, journaling, drinking tea, maybe connecting with your family. So I have been working more on coaching people around that, like putting structure into their routines, of course, providing a fitness program, but then also doing check-ins on a weekly basis on like, okay, what else is going on in your life that can maybe fill your cup a little bit more so that you can show up better in all your other spheres. So I'm kind of slowly taking one client at a time at this point. I had a cohort late last year that was like the change maker challenge type thing. And I really enjoyed that. So I'm kind of experimenting what my coaching program looks like at this point, but it's centered around helping folks.
Okay, so I love that. Okay, so we've had a lot of coaches and people come on to our podcasts and stuff like that, but I haven't heard one yet that is saying it's not, you have a fitness, program that you can, share. But this type of coaching is also about life and balance and wellness and being able to like hold each other accountable to like, so what else in your life how is your rest? How have you reached out to, that family member that you've been talking about and stuff like that? That's like a whole life kind of coach. And I think that's awesome because on Instagram and things like that, I see some of your content. I see you posting workout videos for sure. But every now and then you'll get on there and you'll just kind of talk for a minute and it's starting to make a little bit more sense. I got it. Okay. I'm loving learning more and more about you. Okay. So now tell me about your self-care routine.
Yeah. So my self-care routine, and when you asked kind of initially to get a general sense, the first things that came to mind for me was, of course, movement. Super crucial to my day-to-day. Meal prep, because in order to do all the movement that I do, I have to have some type of fuel. But then also with the schedule that I have, it can be tricky. As much as I would love to be a cook and make every single meal fresh, meal prep is something that helps me a ton. Okay. And then also like family, community, those relationships that make sure that I'm okay and check in on me, that make me laugh, that just a source of me remembering that, okay, it's more than this job or even these weights that I'm lifting. It's like being able to show up with the people that I care about. So yeah, movement, meal prep and my love for them, that would say are kind of part of it.
Do you meal prep every day?
Not every day. Usually I do it once a week. And I would say a major cheat code for me in terms of like eating well and consistently throughout the week is not only the meal prep itself, which can be a daunting task, like thinking about I'm going to cook all the meals for the week. My friend and I, we actually started meal prepping together. So instead of cooking like everything for yourself, you cook kind of like half that quantity or a similar quantity, and then you split it with the other person. So like they might choose 2 or 3 recipes, you might choose 2 or 3 recipes, but you leave with like 4 or 5 or 6 recipes.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so then more variation. You can connect with your friend and catch up with the cooking. And then you just have food for the week.
That's brilliant. Yeah, also meal prep. My schedule's so crazy, and but like I am the person that just wakes up really early. Yeah, has made my food for the whole day. That at the same time. But I love that idea. I can so see how that would work too. Yeah, somebody that's ghosty that's down.
Exactly. So we block off like usually Saturday or Sunday, just like 3 hours.
You need to take a video of that.
Yeah, I know. I need to.
So cool.
I try to, but then in the moment, then you're like being present with your friend and chopping everything, and I kind of
So that's a great thing for like people to be to see. Hey, you can actually involve your community in this too,
right?
Imagine all like the neighbors and people like that. Just getting people out walking and moving.
Yeah,
and then supplementing that with like the correct foods right day. My biggest thing is like you're just not eating enough during the day.
100%.
And so that is why having those meals ready to go is like it's really changed. It just completely changed my physique over the past 2 years. And so it's just something that truly, truly works. Even if you don't get that workout in,
right?
You still ate good, right? You ate the way you're supposed to eat, and that is like what 80% of everything,
right?
As far as physical goals,
right?
Okay. So we all experience challenges in life, and you've definitely shouldered this, work with loving and supporting your mother. And I know that you love her and all of these things, it's no question. But whether you talk about that challenge or not, what is a challenge that you're proud of that you've overcome, and how did you do it?
Yeah. So definitely the caregiver experience I can talk about all day. And the major thing I think I'll highlight from that challenge was just like making sure that if anyone is in a caregiver position or feeling overextended because they're trying to show up for other people in their life, just reaching out for help and connecting to community is going to make all the difference. I know at several points during my journey, I found even that workout group that I mentioned that was based in the Bay Area where I had no family, was starting to make friends, but that workout group really gave me something to look forward to each week when I was in a fairly dark place, like not really sure where my mom's health was going, feeling pressure to take care of the family. And community was what kind of pulled me through and made me realize, okay, come out of your head, your heart, and your own issues and like feel part of something bigger. When my mom started living with me, because at one point she had a fiance that was helping out quite a bit. When she started living with me, just like the stress of the pandemic and navigating our new dynamic was really difficult and frankly had me acting completely out of character. The way that I hope to show up in general is in a loving way. But there were points where like the stress made me show up in ways that were not loving, were not conducive to my well-being or my mom's. And I was like, okay, this is not the person I want to be and how I want to show up. And that's when I dove back into therapy again. I had tried it once before and I was like, this is weird. It wasn't helpful. I did literally a session and didn't come back. But I was like, okay, I think this is time for me to try it again. So I know therapy isn't accessible to everyone. There's like some free support groups and things like that are out there if you don't have like insurance coverage. But if you have even the thoughts of trying therapy out because you're struggling in some way, that has been really crucial to me kind of navigating the challenge of caregiving. But I know I mentioned like in kind of like pre-interview, one challenge was just leaving corporate America, leaving the safety net of a big corporation and the salary and the benefits and all of that, to try something completely new and still kind of shouldering the responsibilities of being a caregiver and making sure that if family needs anything that you're able to show up, but kind of making a conscious choice that this is something that will benefit me. And in the long run, like, things work out how they're meant to when you have the right intentions, right? So things will get taken care of one way or another. So making that jump from corporate to startup life, I think in the long term, I'm hoping that it kind of builds my courage muscle, so that if I make the jump to full-time entrepreneur, or even day-to-day, like sticking up for somebody and doing what I need to do to do the right thing, that making those kind of tough decisions makes it easier over time to show up.
And I just truly tell you, yeah, absolutely. That's actually what it's all about, you know, having those good intentions and knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and being able to recognize, like, hey, this is taking over. I'm really stressed right this second, and I need to take some action steps towards maybe getting some sort of wellness back in place here, because if not, it's not gonna, more pain can get caused, internally yourself, and then I know, of course, with other people connected to you.
Right.
And so I am also a big believer in therapy. It looks different for everyone, but I think that the power of being able to connect and having a sounding board, and in a way being able to let go of all of, like, labels and all of these identities, because you've kind of, like, made this taking care of your mom, it's a huge part of who you are, right, of your identity. Right. But you're also a human, right? And so having a therapist or a third party or somebody just there where you can just be because there's so many layers and so many versions of you, and I just love that you're just, like, going for it, and you're just saying, I want to take care of me in the best way I can, so that it can continue to love. And I know that you said like, love is really, like, your why, and especially love for your family. We know that, but, like, tell me about love, like, and why is that, what, like, especially on those hard days, love seems to just win for you, and it seems to be the thing that you're not gonna give up. You're not gonna harden your heart. You're gonna keep loving. This is your why. So tell me why you would say that love is your why.
Yeah, I think it still goes back to my mom. Yep. In addition to being a single mom, I think about her experience in Vietnam. So I mentioned she was a war baby. So she had a Black American father and then a Vietnamese mother. But after the war, like, people were not fond of anyone who was not only mixed race with American, but then also if you present Black, then that kind of adds another really difficult layer. She was teased. She was poor in addition to being mixed. She was teased, literally, like, bullied, like, physically, mentally, all of that, and had really tough experiences. But when I saw the way that she showed up for me and my brother, and even our friends, she always emphasized, like, wanting to treat the friends that would come over the way that she would want us to be treated if we went to someone else's house. So that meant just being super warm, making sure people had food, and making people laugh, and just seeing how she still chose to extend love despite the terrible experiences that she had growing up, and even throughout most of her life. And even after her stroke, one thing that happened during the hospital was, like, a nurse was trying to take care of her, and it was a nurse she kept seeing over and over. She at some point started trying to, like, massage the nurse's hand in, like, gratitude with her one good hand. Yeah. So, like, seeing how she showed up over time definitely made me want to do the same for others, and I kind of adopt the definition of love from Bell Hooks with a little bit of a variation, but she kind of says the love is the will to extend oneself, to take care of another's or your own spiritual growth. I say, like, to the will to extend yourself to take care of your own or someone else's well-being. So yeah, I just think about that on a regular basis, that, like, I am who I am because of the generosity of not only my mom, but just strangers throughout life that, like, decided to pour into me for whatever reason. So I'm like, okay, the least I can do as an act of gratitude is to pour that back in whatever way that I can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to see your mom over and over and over again, and she didn't have to be that way, but she chose to be that way. That was a decision that we know the decisions we have to make every day, and something we have to make them every minute, but your mom chose every day to go the love route, regardless of the cards that she had been dealt, regardless of the pain she probably felt. And of course, I could see as a mother, she would love her kids, but to see her, even after her life just changed with that stroke, to massage that nurse's hand just in gratitude that the only hand that she could use. What an amazing visual that you just offered. It's just to show that love. And so you had a role model. You had someone exhibiting this in front of you. And I just love that you've taken that on. I love that you're now really leading your family in that way too. Sometimes that stuff gets lost, through siblings and generations and dysfunctional families. And some kids are from over here and some kids are over here, but you get to you're actually carrying that on for your family.
I'm trying.
You're doing it. And you're into fitness. So you're not only just doing it in life, when it comes to just, choosing love regardless of, some of the things that I'm sure your heart's been broken at times. I'm sure that people have done wrong things, but you still know that love always wins. And forgiveness is, probably the highest form of self-love, and that you're just going to keep choosing that in your life. But you're also taking care of your body and your mind, which allows you to be able to more easily do those things.
Right.
The movement piece is key. That's why I'm thinking kind of about your mom and how she can't move half of her body. And it's when I'm out there pushing it, I'm or even this morning, I was working out with some friends, and we were dying, right? We had weights in our hands or doing all these millions of lunges. She was, my friend was just they're making all the noises. And I was listen, we get to do this.
Right.
We get to do this. Right. We get to do this. We get to even have this conversation tonight on the podcast right now. You know what I mean? And so it's just immediate perspective change. And so I just see that in you. I see you pushing it out there, and I'm just there she goes. There she goes. Maybe I'll get her on the podcast. I don't know. But I just love that you just really painted a beautiful picture of your journey, and especially your mom. What's your mom's name?
Fee.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I feel I know her a little bit now too, and I'm just happy that somebody like her even exists, because this world's hard. It's hard, and hardens hearts, and people get paralyzed and covered souls, but she has not allowed her love to stop.
Right.
And so I can see how that tugs you to being there for her. No matter what.
Yeah, I will say most of the fitness communities I've been a part of, I've met my mom at some point, just because I don't want her sitting at the
in the morning.
The only reason she does it, she's not a morning person. And then thankfully, with her persistence, has picked up a part-time job. So she'll work in the evening session. She works during the evening session. That's the only reason she hasn't made it to a hill session yet.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll do other things, and we'll have hills people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then hopefully, once I get this couple that is just in a few weeks, we'll be able to, we can even just highlight her.
Right.
Mom, we made a podcast.
Right.
So what are you're doing all these great things. You're taking care of yourself on a daily basis. You have your whys are in place, and we have things that bring you happiness. But we all have goals that we're working on. We have things that we're running towards. So I just spin on the words a little bit, because, the hills for ATL and running. So what are you running towards right now? It can be completely unrelated from anything we talked about, or it can be just right on track with it.
Yeah.
But do you have anything that you're currently working on?
Yeah. This conversation made me realize, or reminded me, that one of my goals is to also kind of heal the relationship with my sister, because you gave me a lot of credit for being the wrong, and that's something that I've tried to do. But, things happen over time, miscommunications, things like that. And one of the goals is to make sure that with all of my siblings, our relationship is as healthy as possible. So that's something I'm definitely running towards. I also am running towards finishing my master's in public health. The idea is that I will figure out a balance between encouraging people to take care of their personal, physical, mental well-being so that we can show up like collectively better, right? There's a lot of, I was going to cuss, but like terrible things happening in the world right now. And I feel like it's not all going to be fixed by a workout or going to the gym, right? But at the same time, when we are well, like not only physically, but mentally, spiritually, then we are less likely to do things that are going to hurt and harm other people, right? And as we build community, then we build compassion and empathy. So I'm just hoping that by building some knowledge and expertise in this like public health space, learning about how the systems work, because some people, because of the way that systems are built, especially in America, like don't have even the option, don't get to go to the gym because there are these other things that are taking priority, some pre-existing health conditions that happen because of how neighborhoods have been built historically. There's so many,
or they just be single parents that are trying to take care of their kids and they can't.
Right. So many factors that are happening at the individual and the systemic level. So I'm just hoping that I can play my part somehow in helping people live well so that we can all be well and love one another. So it's kind of vague. But yeah, I'm hoping that I can play a role in like advancing health equity and helping people live healthier.
So I will say that. So you don't need a degree to already do that.
True.
You're doing it already.
Thank you.
And I mean, we're here in Atlanta, but like I see you doing this all over. And you're such a light to everyone. And I'm just grateful that you show up. I see you out there when you show up. Even if I don't say anything to you, I see you pushing it. I see that you're happy to be there. And I think that is the energy that we've talked to so many people on that Grove Hill. Like that's the energy that they see. And they're just like, I can do this too. And if we can lead in that way to where other people are like, I can do this too. I figured it out and I'm going to go again next week. You know, it becomes, like I said, so much more than just the actual workout. We're helping other people, you know, believe in themselves, recognize that there are good, fun people out there that don't need anything from you other than just to encourage you, give you a fist bump, and like, you know, let's keep going. You know, because what we're building here, it's really, really amazing, and it's being built authentically, in a very healthy way. And so I'm so grateful that you were able to just be with us tonight, and I can learn a little bit more about your story and what you're doing throughout the day to day. Do not stop posting your workout videos. There's a lot of people that love it, and including myself. And so just thank you for being real. Thank you for being a real loving person. And I hope to meet your mom one day too.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you will. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate Gimme. Appreciate Coach AB for creating the space. I appreciate everyone who I've sent an invite to and showed up. And again, even the people I've never met before, the fact that you're there motivates me to keep showing up yourself.
And if there's anything that we can do to support you, if you have a crazy cool goal, if you want to go run this marathon, or if you want to go do this, we're here for it. You know, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And so everybody, remember we have Heels for ATL, Piedmont Park, Wednesdays. We have a class at 7:30 in the morning. I always forget that one. 7:30 in the morning. It's not so dusty at that time. It's really fun. You watch the sun, rise, and you just start your day, and it's amazing. And if you're feeling real crazy, you can come again at 7:30, 6:30. So you get the 7:30s and 6:30 and stuff. But you can come again at 6:30 p.m., same location, bring water, it's hot. But it's a lot of fun, and you never know who you're going to meet out there. And I know what opportunity is waiting for you out there on that hill. And so anyway, we hope to see you again out there next week. Take care. Bye.